really cover the Sega Genesis or Sega games. This channel is mostly all Nintendo all the time. I do like playing games for other systems, though. I was a huge PlayStation fanboy from the first iteration of the PlayStation to the third. And recently, very recently, I started playing Sega Genesis, and I started collecting for the system. The Sega Genesis is a great system, and it has a lot of iconic games. So I figured I'd share the best Sega Genesis games with you. Now, remember, I didn't grow up with a Sega Genesis, so my list is going to be a little bit different from those of you who grew up playing the system. When I was a kid, the only games I had played on the Genesis were Sonic the Hedgehog and Barney's Hide and Go Seek, and one other game that we'll be talking about in the video. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know what the cliche top games for the Sega Genesis are. I have these two games, but I haven't put much time into either yet. I just haven't gotten around to it. And Rewind Mike says that Castlevania Bloodlines, well, It
isn't a real Castlevania game anyway.
So, let's get rid of it. So let's get started on the best Sega Genesis games from a noob who doesn't know shit about Sega Genesis. For the first game on my list, we have a port of the arcade classic, Ms. Pac-Man. This game is excellent. Not only does it have that classic Pac-Man manic pellet munching ghost chasing gameplay, but it includes a pack booster and some really cute and silly cutscenes. Additionally, the mazes aren't always just the same shape as they are in the original Pac-Man. You have some control over the variations you'll see in-game, as well as the difficulty. It's really a great port if you ask me, and definitely one of the best games on the Sega Genesis. You can even get a complete copy for like $5. And who would turn that down? Pac-Man deniers, that's who. Mystic Defender is the first game I picked up blindly when I purchased my first Sega Genesis only about a year or so ago. It tells the tale of I don't remember. I usually skip the cutscenes on this one. Not because they're bad, I just... Don't judge me! So I don't know the story of one of my favorite Genesis games. Big deal! Anyway, you play this purple-garbed magician dude. He has all kinds of cool powers that he can collect throughout the quest, and powering up these spells increases attack power. The enemies range from ninjas to weird and gross-looking monsters. The level design isn't the absolute best, but it's not terrible. It's a good side-scrolling action game that I pop in pretty often. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I've been slowly gaining ground on it as I play it more and more. Mystic Defender is a pretty cheap game, so pick it up if you haven't checked it out before. An interesting note, when I had my Retron 5, and I don't have it anymore because I don't like that system, the Mystic Defender cartridge would pull down a Japanese version of the game when I played it. When I played it in my Genesis, it played the North American version. So, I don't know what happened there. Here's a cliche top game on the Genesis, right? This one is on everyone's list. It's the best Sonic game that I have played to completion. I like it better than Sonic 2. I still have yet to really dive into Sonic 3. It's good, but I've played the first game a lot more, and I'm more familiar with it, and I really enjoy playing it. Sonic games aren't perfect, and a lot of people get really rabid about defending them when talking about comparisons with other famous video game mascots. I find that they have some weird enemy placement and level design choices, but I'm really not a Sonic enthusiast, so I could be missing something. Overall, though, it's a fun experience. Great music, graphics, and fun gameplay make for a great game. If you want to hear me talk about this game more, check out my review. World of Illusion is one of the few Sega Genesis games I played as a kid. I actually really enjoyed it then, and I still really like it today. It also has a 2-player mode, so you can play as both Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Really cool! The graphics and music really set up a beautiful atmosphere that calls back to classic Disney movies incredibly well. The gameplay is very solid and plays good, despite being a bit slow-moving and floaty. I feel like more people cherish Castle of Illusion over this game, but admittedly, I've never played that game. So I can't say whether it's the better Mickey Mouse game. Of the 3 Disney games I've played on the Sega Genesis, it's definitely the best one. It's another cheapie, and I definitely recommend picking it up if you get a chance. This is, by far, my favorite game on the Sega Genesis. It's probably also one of my favorite 16-bit games. I hadn't played this game or even heard of the series until I watched a happy video game nerd stop skeletons from fighting video back before I started collecting again. Rocket Knight Adventures was at the top of my list to grab once I had a Genesis, and I was not disappointed. The game looks amazing, it has great music, the characters are all funny and charming, the settings are fun and interesting, and the gameplay is solid yet very challenging. Full disclosure, I haven't beaten this game yet, but it's probably the one game I pop into my system the most. It's a freaking hard game, but it's not completely unfair either. It's Konami at their best. If you haven't played this game, definitely do so as soon as possible. It's yet another easy to find and easy to pay for game if you want a physical copy, so pick it up if you still have the hardware. And, I mean, come on, look at this guy. He's so cute! All jokes about Sega aside, I'm really enjoying the console. And I'm actually kind of glad I didn't grow up playing it, because now I've got this huge library of retro games that I've never played before. So I get to experience them now as an adult, and it's really cool. I even picked up the HD Retrovision cables so I could play over component on my HD TV. The composite cables just really leave a lot to be desired on HD TVs, so replacing them is a must for people new to the system. And don't talk to me about input lag, I don't have any! So what I need from you is your list of favorite Sega Genesis games. I'm still new to the system, so there are a lot of games that I don't know about. I've got a pretty good collection going already, but there are a lot more games out there that I'm sure that I don't know about that I should be playing. So let me know in the comments section what games I need to absolutely try out for the Sega Genesis. I'm really loving the system so far, and it's a lot of fun. That's all I have for this time. I appreciate you guys watching. Later.